मानसिक शक्ति के इस कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं अमरीश श्रीवास्तव। हम आज चर्चा करेंगे छात्रों की समस्याओं के बारे में, और ये कल के दिन हुए हमारे वेबिनार पर आधारित है। कल काशी विश्वविद्यालय में पूरे दिन हमारे साथ 7 विशेषज्ञों ने मिलकर एक परिचर्चा का आयोजन किया था, जिसमें हम सभी ने अनेक विषयों पर चर्चा की है। आज अभी का विषय जो मैं आपके सामने लेकर आया हूं वो है छात्रों में मानसिक तनाव का विषय। ये कोई नया विषय नहीं है, लेकिन समस्या ये है कि हमें ये जानना और सीखना है कि नई पीढ़ी के लोगों के तनाव का अर्थ क्या है, वो आता कहाँ से है, उत्पन्न कहाँ से होता है, वो बढ़ता कब है और घटता कब। लोगों को, विशेषकर उनके माता पिता और अध्यापकों को, इन समस्याओं से उलझ जूझने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए? क्या कोई ऐसा तरीका है कि हम पहले से जान लें कि किसी भी छात्र में मानसिक तनाव होने वाला है या बढ़ने वाला है? क्या हम ये भी जान सकते हैं कि वे कौन कौन सी समस्याएं हो सकती हैं जो किसी भी छात्र को, विशेषकर वे लोग जो परीक्षाओं में बैठने जा रहे हैं, मानसिक तनाव की ओर ले जा सकती हैं? मानसिक तनाव तो जीवन के लिए आवश्यक है। अगर तनाव नहीं होगा तो हमारी क्षमताएं विकसित नहीं होंगी। लेकिन तनाव के सहन करने की अपनी अपनी अलग अलग सीमाएं हैं, और ये सीमाएं मनुष्य स्वयं निश्चित करता है। कुछ वो आनुवंशिक गुणों से लेकर आता है, कुछ अपने आप से, अपने वातावरण से, अपने बचपन से, अपने आसपास के लोगों से सीखता रहता है। ऐसा नहीं है कि तनाव सहन करने की ये क्षमता बढ़ाई नहीं जा सकती, अवश्य बढ़ाई जा सकती, लेकिन इसके लिए मेहनत करने की आवश्यकता है, नियम की आवश्यकता है, कला की आवश्यकता है। सबसे पहले यह आत्मज्ञान आवश्यक है कि हम में क्या कमी है, हम में क्या क्षमता है, हम किस दिशा में जाएं, किससे क्या सीखें, गुरुजनों से क्या सीखना है, परिवारों से क्या सीखना है, और मित्रों से क्या सीखना है, समय का उपयोग कैसे करना है, अपने लक्ष्य के लिए कितना निर्धारित रखना है, अपने आप को, अपने आप का जीवन किस तरह प्रायोजित करना है। इन बातों पर विशेष चर्चा है। संजय गुप्ता, प्रोफेसर ऑफ साइकेट्री, बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी, हमारे मित्र हैं। ये आपसे चर्चा करेंगे और देखते हैं इनके क्या सुझाव है।
Comes under the banner of stress. Okay, so can I have my first present? Can I have my presentation? Can we share screen? ये PPT पहले बोलो नहीं नहीं पहले पहले It's not mute. Just okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, yes, surely.
You are audible now. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Okay. So can we have a screen share? इसमें नहीं आ रहा था ना. वो वाली शेयर करो ना.
Can't hear you once again. Once again.
डॉक्टर गुप्ता, यू आर नॉट हर्ड. आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी.
Screen change.
Okay, now
अभी आ
am
रही
I
है.
audible?
Yeah, you are audible. You are.
Okay, okay. Please share. I'm indeed very sorry, and I think
People are testing
testing
the
the
man
man
who's
who's
speaking
speaking
on
on
stress.
stress.
And
And
first of all,
they're trying to give me stress,
and
and
then
then
they're
they're
going
going
to
to
then they're going to ask. I want the slides. The slides. Slides क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? Okay, fine. Okay. So, right, we come to
the next will be two bits.
right.
So there's a lot of stress in the youth, as you can all make out from these.
Next slide, guys. How will it go next? It should come on this now.
Yes,
ये आ रहा है. तो ये second
second
करो. Yeah, now it's there. Now
I can start there.
अब करो next करो. मेरा लैपटॉप मेरा लैपटॉप हो गया. Okay. So you keep on doing it. Okay. You audible?
अभी
इसमें audible नहीं आ रहा. Is myself audibly? Okay. Is Dr. Amresh
Amresh able to hear me?
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
fine. So navigating the storm, go ahead. I think, sorry for the glitches, but this happens. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. Well, back, please. Well, it's not the stress that kills us. Stress is ubiquitous, but it's our reaction to it. That's what the great founder Hans said. Next, please. The stress toll is enormous. 83% of teens view school as a source of stress. 69% view what to do after college as a source of stress. 65% financial concerns within the family, and so many, all of those things. Next, please. So, stress assessment is multifaceted. So, how do we identify stress? Next, please. Now, stress is ubiquitous all across the different life domains. You have a physical domain, you have a social life, there are abuse potentials, there are educational things, personal things, behavioral, your stress coping, interpersonal, family domains, mood, and so many things, all domains. Your stress can be in all of these domains to different quantities. Next, please. Now, identifying that COVID time, you would understand and you would agree during COVID time, a lot of the domains, they were exceptionally affected with stress. The interpersonal, the personal, the social, the behavioral, the mood, and all of them, they were affected. So during the COVID, the UGC, that is the Pioneer Agency of India, the UGC issued advisories and guidelines, and they said that you look at the third bullet, they said arranging for counselors and mentors for mental health, psychosocial support, and well being of all stakeholders was a prime target because various domains, heavy toll. So COVID has gone away, but has stress gone away? No, we do have stress. Now you can understand stress when there is something very severe. The problem is the daily life stressors. You really, you ask anybody, what happened? Any problem? No, there's no problem. But then you're uneasy. You go to your department and your boss tells you, you haven't done your work yesterday, or as a student, your teacher tells you that, oh, you should have done your homework and you're not attentive in class. Where is your attention? All of that stuff. And then you talk to your friend and you ask him for some help. He doesn't help you. So one of the stressors is from the teacher. The other stressor is that the friend didn't help you. But what is the severity? The severity is not very high. It's very minor. But I give you the concept that a lot of minors can turn into major. Next, please. So how do you diagnose stress? Because you have to do it holistically across all the domains that we've just listed. It should be individual specific. What is stressful for one is not stressful for the other. So the diagnosis of stress must be individual specific. The scale should be available, or the tool should be self-administered, easy to use, and it should be fast. I mean, you have counselors taking 2 hours, three sessions, or over a week. That's just not in. It has to be fast. So the outcome was the student stress dimension questionnaire in 2016, and this is holistic. It has all the 10 domains. It's a 93 item specific questionnaire which has Likert scaling, scoring 0, 1, 2. 0 is never, 1 is sometimes, 2 is often, and it is self-administered. You give it to the person. It's very easy to understand. The questions, You just have to mark 0, 1, or 2. It takes 20 minutes. So 20 minutes, within 20 minutes, you can have a stress mapping of the individual. Next, please. And this was validated. Go ahead. Next, please. So it's very dicey. Stress management, very, very dicey. Let me show you some samples of what can be done. Next, please. Now, identifying, you talked about cumulative stress loading. Well, there are so many life domains. And like I said, all the minor, if on 10 major domains, you have a point system of only 15, but overall the 10. So it's not 15, it's 150. And 150 is a major quantity. So that cumulative stress load is what you have to detect. And the SSDQ does that beautifully. Next, please. These are the samples. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 samples. You can see that in the first one, that the one around 60, that is the physical domain, it's more than 60. And let me tell you, there is a bar around 40. So we take the around 40 or less to be non-stressed, because 30-40% some stress is necessary. We got trapped in our slides, so we got into some stress, we did some more action, and now we're back into it. So, but above 40, it is major. So you can find the physical domain is impaired more than 60, the personal domain is impaired, then the IP, the interpersonal, is at 40, the social domain is impaired, the B is behavioral domain, that is highly impaired, and as well as the stress coping and the mood and thought and the educational domain. This is one sample. This is a 27-year-old student, and of course, no names, but there are so many domains affected. And when we talk to the person with what is your problem, he didn't fit into the diagnostic criteria for depression, or he didn't have any suicidal tendency, he didn't have any addictions, he didn't fit into any ICD-10 diagnostic category. But we subjected him to the SSDQ, and lo and behold, we found a whole lot of stress. It was all like all that pressure cooker just about to burst. Next, please. We take a second sample, and this is that same sample, but after therapy, you find that only his social, one of the domains is left. All the others have been reduced. You take another one. Next, please. So it is individual specific. We take another individual. Now you look at this, the stress mapping curve. I call it, like कुंडली होती है हम लोगों की, राहु केतु की लोग ज्योतिषी लोग कुंडली बनाते हैं. तो मैं कहता हूँ आप आइए, हम आपकी स्ट्रेस की कुंडली बना के देंगे, और आप उसको अपने आप देख के अपने आप समझ जाएंगे कि कौन सी पूजा पाठ, मतलब कौन सा मेजर्स आपको करना है, ताकि आप उन व्याधियों से दूर हो जाएं. Next, please. So the intervention at 3 levels, that is the cumulative stress loading, the generalized approaches, the breathing exercises, the relaxation techniques. This is at this level. At the stress domain, you have the domain-based strategies. If it is a social domain, suppose the ADA is an interpersonal domain. Interpersonal domain, the person is worried about his self-worth. So you go into those concepts of that domain, and multiple psychotherapeutic strategies. You talked about the psychotherapies that need to be there. So those psychotherapies are focused. They are focused as per the domain affected. So that is how the SSDQ really lines up and really tailors the stress management as per the individual. Otherwise, before this, you would have the clinical scenario of the doctor or the counselor saying, you are stressed over educational issues, and the person would say, no, I don't have any stress about the education, and there would be a whole lot of stress over that. So here, this is the individual himself or herself saying the things. And the independent stressors, this is another concept. Out of the 93 items, those items marked 2, that is frequent, they need specific intervention. The intervention goes for anywhere around 1 to 6 months. And of course, there can be maintenance of the therapies also. Next, please. Student crisis challenges. I think the coachings can also be crisis. There are so many other crises. Now, it is multifaceted. To understand that, first of all, is what is the IQ of the individual? And that is not the only thing, of course. But yes, what is the IQ? What is the adjustment quotient of the person? The person is going to leave home. If you have a girl who's been living at home and after 12th she is told go into coaching, she is not able to make friends. She doesn't she has difficulty in adjusting. So naturally, she is going to be at a problem. So these are the things that you have to assess first. What is the tolerance level? There is a tolerance level. The teacher asks you 2 questions, you're not able to answer. And the third question that the teacher asks you, you just blow up. Say, sir, I don't know. And the teacher says, well, what have I said? I've just asked you a question. So the tolerance level it's very, very different. What are the preferences? What are the career preferences? I went into a community girls. It was a girls' degree college, and we discussed about the quota crisis. And when I asked them, most of the girls, it was a girls' degree college. Most of the girls, they said, the parents, they put pressure that you got to do this, so go for coaching. So when I asked them, I said, why don't you communicate? And that concept was not there. There was so much pressured by the parents that they were totally they did not have that concept that they could say anything to the parents. So they said, parents, oh, how can we? I said, well, yes, because your parents, I explained to them, your parents are your greatest friends. If you have 2 greatest friends in the world, they are your mother and father. They will never think ill of you. Maybe your best friend can, but these 2 people will never think ill of you. So if they're trying to give you something, they think honestly that it's good for you. So you have to tell them, look, it's not my cup of tea. It's not what I'm interested in. And the minute you communicate that sweetly, but continuously, then your pop or your mom will say, okay, no problem, we'll look at something else. But the problem is the communication is not there. So the parental pressure is absolutely very high. Attitudes. The attitudes of the individual is very, very different. Some of the people, their attitudes are that I don't have to do anything. It's something like some celebrity said, "Jo kuch nahi karte, wo bada kaam karte." These sort of quotes are coming. I don't know how good or how bad they are, but they are singular quotes from people, and it's a free country, so anybody can say that. But it's a very often quote from many of the people कि जो कुछ नहीं करते हैं वो बहुत बड़ा काम करते हैं. So it's those attitudes are there, and you cannot call them good or bad. You cannot call them. You cannot say that this is a bad attitude. It's an attitude. It's my life, and that's how I feel about it. The aptitude. Do you have the aptitude? All of these assessments, if they are done, if somebody wants to go in, if the parent wants to push their children in, first let us have a health team, and I'd request Professor to think upon this, form a team like this, which looks into all of these things. And after these things, what is the knowledge of the stress coping methods? is there any knowledge of coping method? If there is knowledge, I think the knowledge is, of course, there in many of them, but what is the application? It's something like, when we tell somebody do deep breathing exercises, when they come back to us and we say, well, have you done that? So they say, honestly, sorry, I forgot. So they know it, but the application, so, it's like a tablet or it's like a pill. The pill on the table will not work until and unless you swallow it. So not just the knowledge of coping methods, it is the application of the coping methods which is highly required. Next, please. Relationship issues. The relationship issues, what I usually say about this is the SPG formula. You have the SPG is a very special group for protection. And for relationship issues, I like to just break it down into three. One is there are a lot of individual sensitivities. The sensitivities are that, uh, the boy and girl, they get into a relationship, and the boy calls up the girl, and the girl does not pick up the phone. I mean, something very, very simple. Does not pick up the phone for whatever reason. The boy does this 3 or 4 days and a repetition from the girl. The boy leaves that relationship. And when the girl says, look what happened, the boy is found to be very sensitive. You didn't pick up my phone. If you can't pick up my phone, how are you going to stay with me? I mean, it's generalization across the whole life. So you're looking into something in a very big way, but that is the individual. So you cannot change individual personalities. So it's very important that first of all, you understand what your sensitivities are. And in relationships, it is a freak out situation, oh yes, we had a boy and a girl coming in, and they said, well, we've known each other for a long time. I said, well, how long is that? About 6 weeks. So 6 weeks is a very long time for these youngsters. And I said, well, how much do you know about each other? And their frank reply was, we love each other. We don't have to understand it. We love each other. So, I mean, that's enough. So there have to be, love is a essential ingredient of any relationship. But please take time for the relationship, let it, उसको धीमी आंच में पकने दीजिए. धीमी आंच में जब चीज पकती है तो बहुत बढ़िया सुगंध आती है, बहुत बढ़िया पकवान बनता है और आप खा सकते हैं. और जहां आप जल्दी जल्दी सब चीज चला देते हैं तो जल भी जाएगा. And that is exactly what is happening with relationships. We have to understand these sensitivities, and the individual partners have to avoid whatever the people's sensitivities are. Second is understand the preferences. If the girl likes aloo ki tikki, and then you're saying, yeah, let's go for golgappa, the person takes it very bad. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know me. So you jot down. It is like you have to understand. And relationship is definitely understanding your partner. So relationship is not about yourself. Relationship is about understanding your partner. So understand the preferences, promote your behavior into those preferences. And third, what are the goals? The boy says, I want to go abroad. The girl says, I love rural India. We have to create a different rural India. How long is this relationship going to go? So this is what you have to, of course, what do? You come together, you discuss things. And like we talked about motivation is malleable. Similarly, your emotions are malleable. The talking is a come together. So you come together with that. So all of these things, if the SPG is followed, I think this is the formula for improving the relationships. Next, please. This is our book, Khoshali, and we're going to now talk about the general philosophy. Uh, we've talked about the individuals. Next, please. What is the Khoshali philosophy? The Khoshali philosophy, well, what is sin? Sin is good or sin is bad? Sin is bad, right? But I say sin is good. So how is sin is good? Well, sin is not good. Sin is good is an acronym here. So do not go away with the idea that sin is good. The acronym is sin be good. S is struggle, संघर्ष. जीवन का आनंद लेने के लिए संघर्ष जरूरी है. This is what the student has to understand. The student says, I am in my college in the morning, I am in the evening, I'm in the coaching, and in the night I'm on my laptop reading. संघर्ष है, करना है, और यही संघर्ष सफलता दिलाएगी. कोई संघर्ष के बिना सफलता, I give you a gold-plated necklace without there being any occasion. I don't think that necklace is going to find any ownership. So, संघर्ष, बिना संघर्ष, there is nothing in life. The second S is silence. हाँ, ये आइंस्टाइन का एक फेमस कोट भी है. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Einstein को क्यों quote करा? Because you talk about somebody who has a very high IQ. We're not going to listen to anyone else. So, well, Albert Einstein is the cream of it. So in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. No difficulty, no opportunity. The first step in communicating. What is the first step in communicating? First step in communicating is the silence. It is the silence in which you are able to take in non-verbal things, in which you are able to listen to everyone's views. And without that silence, you cannot get anywhere. Your communication is going to be absolutely haywire. You are going to have complete misunderstandings. So, पहले जब भी बात करें, पहले good morning, good afternoon, or we say happy morning, happy afternoon. इसके बाद कहें open-ended आप कैसे हैं? To listen. Let there be a silence for the other person to speak. The I of sin is the ifs and buts. We are worried about, oh, we don't have a CME, but if the link doesn't work, what's going to happen? But if the speaker doesn't turn up, what is going to happen? Well, there's no, if the link was all right, the speaker is all right, you worried for no reason. So drop the ifs, drop the buts. This is the second I. The N is nature. Nature, your nature, and that nature. ये roots हैं, जड़ें हैं. जड़ों में रहेंगे तो मानसिक शक्ति और आध्यात्मिक शक्ति आपको मिलेगी. वो जड़ों से आप, जो जड़ों से मजबूत है, वो मानसिक शक्ति उसकी बहुत बेहतरीन होती है. तो वो नेचर आपको calmness देगा. And Alice Walker ने कहा, what we can understand from nature. In nature, please just note it. In nature, nothing is perfect. In nature, nothing is perfect, like us. And everything is perfect. So like us. So nothing is perfect in you and me, and everything is perfect in me and you. It's your attitudes, and that's nature. किसी गुलाब के फूल में आपकी पंखुड़ियां नहीं हैं, तो कहीं सिर्फ कांटे हैं, लेकिन ओवरऑल गार्डन बड़ा मनमोहक लगता है, right? So this is the end, the sin. Now B, VE, the B. ये क्यों नहीं हुआ? ये उसकी वजह से नहीं हुआ. I could not do this because of this person. I didn't get good marks in physics because my friend did not help me. I did not get good marks in physics because my teacher did not focus on me. I did not get good marks because I could not concentrate because my parents had no time for me. You have to do it, baby. You have to do it. No blaming. You are responsible. आप करोगे आप पाओगे. जो करेगा वो पाएगा, और आप जो करेंगे वो पाएंगे. अच्छा करेंगे अच्छा जरूर पाएंगे. चीनी डाली है, मीठा जरूर होगा. This is the golden rule, natural rule. And the other B, always have backups. हम लोग कोटा क्राइसिस की बात कर रहे हैं, कोचिंग क्राइसिस की बात कर रहे हैं. मेडिकल करना है, बैकअप कोई नहीं रखा. बैकअप जरूर. हमने बैकअप्स यहाँ 2-2 लैपटॉप, 3-3 लैपटॉप्स बैकअप रखे हैं, 4 मोबाइल्स बैकअप रखे हैं, so that things do not get disturbed. But life है, disturbance तो नियति है, नियति में ही disturbance है. Life is a disorder in itself, and life will be disorderly. आपको क्या करना है? इस केओस को दूर करना है. मतलब जीवन को उलझने सुलझाने का नाम जिंदगी है. यानी उलझने होती रहेंगी, आपको सुलझाना है. So have that backup. The E is another philosophy. Enemy as a friend. Can we take an enemy as a friend? Enemy तो enemy है. बंदूक ले आओ, तलवार ले आओ, मार दें किसी तरीके से, कोई गड्ढा हो उसमें गिरा दें. The enemy as a friend. The enemy as a friend, we have to change that. When we look at what is an enemy, enemy क्या कहता है? Enemy कहता है प्रोफेसर संजय आपको तो बात करना ही नहीं आता है. अब प्रोफेसर संजय ने कहा अच्छा तो मैं देख लूंगा बस. क्योंकि आप ये कहिए बात करना नहीं आता, क्या नहीं बात करना आता है. देखिए ये चीज, ये इतना बड़ा फीडबैक है जो आपका बेस्ट फ्रेंड नहीं दे सकता. आपका बेस्ट फ्रेंड आपकी वीकनेस नहीं बताएगा, क्योंकि वो बेस्ट फ्रेंड है और वो सोचेगा यार कहीं बंधन टूट ना जाए. ये दोस्ती तो हमारी बड़ी प्यारी, इसको ये बोलेंगे तो इसको ठेस लग जाएगी, वो मन की ठेस तो दिमाग पे पड़ेगी तो हम तो ये जो आपका दुश्मन है, क्रिटिक है, वो कहेगा भाई आपको तो ये नहीं आता, आपको तो ड्रेसिंग नहीं आता, आपको नहीं आता. लिसन लिसन, क्या क्या नहीं आता आपको बता दिया गया. आपको तो आगे बढ़ना है. नोबडी इज परफेक्ट. तो आपको आगे बढ़ना है. आपको अपनी वीकनेस पता चल गई, आपको अपनी वीकनेस पता कर गई, आप आगे बढ़ने लगे. सो किसने कहा? निमी ने कहा. लेकिन पुरानी हमारी फिलॉसफी में, हमारे धार्मिक ग्रंथों में है निंदक नियरे राखिए. ये जब हमने दिया था, मैंने सोचा ये निंदक नियरे राखिए ये तो ऑलरेडी था, ये हमने क्या नया सोचा. तो फिर हमने सोचा कि अगर कुछ भी नहीं नया सोचा तो देन व्हाट एम आई डूइंग विद दिस न्यू फिलॉसफी. तब दिमाग में आया नहीं, एक अंतर है. निंदक नियरे राखिए, आपका वो सबका काम कर रहा है, लेकिन आप उसको संज्ञा दे रहे हैं निंदक की, आप उसको डाउन प्ले कर रहे हैं. तो हमारी खुशहाली फिलॉसफी में साथी मित्र परम मित्र, एनिमी परम मित्र है, परम मित्र है मतलब वो निंदक नहीं है, वो परम मित्र है। निंदक में आपने उसको डाउन प्ले करा, हमने उसको परम मित्र कहा, हमने उसको संज्ञा दी, हमने उसको सम्मान दिया, हमने उसको रिस्पेक्ट दी। हे दोस्त, तुम मुझे आगे बढ़ने का रास्ता दे रहे हो, थैंक यू वेरी मच। और ये जब आपने फिलॉसफी चेंज कर दी तो आप समझ रहे हैं क्या होगा पूरे देश दुनिया में? लड़ाइयां बंद हो जाएंगी। और जो स्ट्रेस लेवल आपका बढ़ता है, जैसे ही आप देखते हैं दूसरा, अरे ये तो मेरा एनिमी है, तो आपका स्ट्रेस लेवल खत्म हो जाएगा और आपके ग्रेटिट्यूड हार्मोन्स आने लगेंगे एंड यू विल फील calm, the situation will be much more pleasant and it will be overall एक खुशहाल वातावरण होगा. So this is the sin B. And let's look at the good. The last slide, I think. The good is have your goals. Students must have goals. Goals एक नहीं बनाना है, 2-3 goals बनाने हैं. Like I said, you must have some goals to fall back on. एक गोल नहीं कंप्लीट हुआ, दूसरा ले लीजिए, तीसरा ले लीजिए, चौथा ले लीजिए. चौथा गोल अगर करा तो भूल जाइए ये चौथा था. वो चौथा गोल ही आपका पहला गोल था. It is a hit and trial method. और दूसरा जी, gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, be good. पहला सूत्र कहता है हर वक्त अवसर होता है कुछ अच्छा करने का. हर वक्त अवसर होता है कुछ अच्छा करने का. इन अवसरों को हाथ से ना जाने दें. कुछ अच्छा करने का, आपने कुछ अच्छा करा, आपने ग्रैटिट्यूड अपना दिखाया. और ग्रैटिट्यूड जब आपने दिखाया तो आप ढेर सारे जो आप न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर्स आपके जो जितने सब वो पॉजिटिव न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर्स आएंगे वो आएगा. एंड लाइक द ग्रेट अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन सेड, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. So ये भी कंसेप्ट है लाइफ का. ये नहीं पहले मैं सफल हो जाऊं तब ये करूंगा. नो, इट इज पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ योर लाइफ. आप जब भी ग्रेटिट्यूड, जब भी आप किसी दोस्त को बर्थडे विश करने जाते हैं और आप जब गिफ्ट देते हैं उसको, छोटी सी गिफ्ट देते हैं, आपने 500 रुपए लगाया, आपका 500 गया, लेकिन आपको कितनी खुशी होती है देने में, वो आप ध्यान दें. आप दे रहे हैं लेकिन तब भी आपको खुशी हो रही है. और जिन लेने को हो सकता है कम खुशी हो रही हो, लेकिन आपको देने में कितनी खुशी होती है. जस्ट रिकॉल दोस टाइम्स. दैट इज व्हाट कीप्स यू पॉजिटिव. दैट इज व्हाट कीप्स योर गुड मेंटल हेल्थ. एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. मानसिक शक्ति, मानसिक बल आपको कहां से मिलेगा? इन्हीं चीजों से मिलेगा. द यू एंड द डी. द यू इज अपडेट एंड अपग्रेड. एक मोबाइल कंपनी थी, में आई थी बहुत पहले, नाम नहीं लेंगे. आज वो मोबाइल कंपनी को अपडेट की नहीं, अपग्रेड किया नहीं. आज किसी के पास वो हैंडसेट नहीं. तो आपका अगर मोबाइल है उसको आप अपडेट नहीं डालेंगे तो प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगी. ठीक उसी तरीके से एक स्टूडेंट है, फिजिक्स तो पढ़ रहा है, वो कोचिंग भी कर रहा है, लेकिन कुछ चीजें हैं जो वो अपडेट अपने आप करे. आजकल ऑनलाइन सो मेनी सोर्सेज आर देयर. अपडेटेड रहे, अपने टीचर से बात करे, अपडेट करे अपने को, और स्किल्स, नए नए स्किल्स सीखे. फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथ्स इज नॉट द ओनली थिंग. आप पेंटिंग में अगर अच्छे हैं, आप वोकल सिंगिंग में अच्छे हैं, आप इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स में अच्छे हैं, आप अपग्रेड करो अपने को. स्किल्स, आज स्किल्स की दुनिया है. आप स्किल्ड हैं तो आप सफल हैं. So those days are gone in which we have to have only an academic degree. You can be successful provided you have that skill. And for that, you have to keep updated and keep upgraded. The last two, you. Who is you? Have you ever analyzed yourself? What do you like? What are your preferences? What are your behavioral styles? What are your tolerance levels? Self-analysis. This is to be done. Spend 15 minutes with yourself every day. Spend 15 minutes with yourself every day. You will find yourself, because it is a continuous process. Before going to bed, give yourself 15 minutes. You will find yourself, and then you will be in harmony, because your consciousness, your conscience, and your soul is also living all together. And like Mahatma Gandhi said, when all are in harmony, that is happiness. So then only you will be happy. And the last D is determination. Determination हमेशा रखिए. आप determined हैं, so nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Determination वो की है जो आपको आगे ये बढ़ाएगी. और determined हो जाइए कि ये sin be good का acronym. Do not do sins, but the sin be good का acronyms के जो concepts हैं, इनको follow करना शुरू करिए अभी से. Next, please. How do we spread the message? We are spreading the messages to. Go ahead. We are doing webinars in the Malaj University on happy living, and this is for teachers, employees, special, but we also had it for students. This is again spreading the message on the national day. Talk about good health, good mental health, Mansik, Shakti. These are the ways to promote it. Next, please. The examination phobias, it's the big stress. Next, please. Like we talked about determination, I paused my lecture with these words. जिंदगी तो संघर्ष है, पर कोई गम नहीं, सब गेम है. कोई गम नहीं, सब गेम है. डटे रहो, जीत तुम्हारी ही है. With these words, I'd like to thank all of you for your very patient listening. Very sorry again that we goofed up in the beginning, but thank you all for your very kind attention. Thank you, Professor Amresh. And thank you, audience, for your wonderful questions. Over to Professor Amresh, please.